Hello and welcome to Shooting Straight with Brad and Casey. I'm Casey Clark, your Navajo County Sheriff, and Brad's not here today. He's in trial. We have as our guest today is Adam Wolf, and he's the PIO for Navajo County, and that's PIO is what, Adam?
So I'm the Public Information Officer, specifically the Communications Manager, the technical title, but essentially I help communicate to the public in times of emergency, during events, just really to help keep the public informed about what's going on around the county and really just in their communities.
So before you came to Navajo County, were you in journalism or?
Yeah, so for 5 years before I came here, I was actually a reporter, which really helped me get a good feel for the media side, and it made that transition easy because a lot of what I do is working with the media. So having that experience for the last 5 years really helped benefit as far as building relationships there and helping get information out. I went to journalism school and everything at ASU, so it's been good.
So ASU, so you're good to go then.
Yeah.
So
Devils.
and then how long have you been with Navajo County?
I started last March, so a little over a year now, and we've had quite a few emergency events happen in the last year, but the experience has been great, and I actually grew up in the area, so it was nice to be able to come home and help benefit the community that I grew up in.
You went to Sholo School?
I went to Blue Ridge.
Okay.
I did. I grew up in Pine Top Lakeside. I was a Yellow Jacket.
Okay.
And then, of course, went down to Phoenix and then spent about 8 years in the Valley before coming back.
And then you're still active in the community. I think you're a soccer coach and.
I am. Oddly enough, I now coach the Snowflake soccer team. So just make my way through the different school systems. But yeah, I try to give back. I really feel blessed to have the role I have and be able to come back and help my community. So I think it's important to be able to give back as well. And I enjoy coaching, so it's been a good experience there as well.
Well, being with the county, myself as sheriff, and then over the years as a deputy, you've done really a great job at getting our message out and helping in different times that we've needed it. So anyway, I appreciate it. And so how does the county? I mean, how do we use social media on a daily basis? I mean.
Yeah, so over really the last 5 years, we've seen this growth in social media of it's not just where people can go to, communicate with each other now. It's actually where the majority of people get their news, get their updates. So as the county, what we've done is really make that transition as well, where whether it's, legislation through our board of supervisors, whether it's we do Wanted Wednesday posts for the sheriff's office in times of emergency. That's really where you get the most up-to-date information. So on a daily basis, we openly communicate with the public, and we really try to keep them informed of what's going on, be it an event, an emergency, or even just a fun fact from time to time about the county, because we have some very unique history. So it's always good to get that out there as well. So we really just try to engage the public on a daily basis.
So we have there's several different Facebook sites, and I know that we have some Twitter accounts also. But we have on the county, we have the county Facebook.
Yep, we have the county's main page. We have the sheriff's office page. The county attorney runs his own page as well. We also have public health and I believe a library page. But on Twitter, we actually just have the one Twitter feed. It really helps just keep things organized because with Twitter, it can rotate through in 5 minutes. What you post could be so far down on the list now, people won't see it. So it's easier just to have one account there. But on Facebook side, where we get the majority of our engagement, we actually have 5 different pages helping to communicate different things.
Do you know about how many not likes, but how many people followers we have on the county or the sheriff's or?
Yeah, so on the county's main page, we actually just broke the 10,000 follower barrier, which is very good for a community our size to be able to reach that many people. Really, with each post on a daily basis is phenomenal, and I was very proud to reach that number. The sheriff's page is actually almost to 5,000 now, so it's grown quite a bit over the last year as well. And emergency management is about 3,500. So those are our 3 most popular pages, and the 3 that are most active. So they're reaching close to 15,000 people each post. So it's really been great.
Well, that's one of the things. Before we go on, I want to let the folks know is that if there is an emergency or whatever, come to the county Facebook page of the sheriff. Some of the ones that you've just talked about, because you're going to get actual real-time information, and you won't get what is, as we're all hearing about, fake news anymore. Because so many times I remember last year during the Cedar Fire, you have so many rumors going out there. So I'd really want to encourage people to come to our emergency management, the county or sheriff Facebook to get real information.
Oh yeah, and the Cedar Fire is a great example. So within the first 2 days of the Cedar Fire, 26 fake accounts were actually made with information regarding what was happening. Really, the only sources of information from the Cedar Fire were on our county pages, which the same information was shared to those 3 pages, the Emergency Management, Sheriff's, and Main page, because we knew that's where we were going to engage the most people. So we kept a consistent message. And then the Forest Service, the Type 1 team that came in, set up their page. But we had constant communication, so the information was also the same. But yeah, we actually had 26 fake pages pop up throughout that fire just claiming to have information. So that's why it's important to know the sources that are going to be accurate, and that is, of course, through the county pages.
Oh, that's great information. So what platform does the county currently use when I say platform?
So most of what we do is through Facebook and Twitter. Really, we try to keep that balanced. For every post that goes up on Facebook, we try to balance it with a post on Twitter. We also do have a county YouTube page where we've been expanding our video capabilities. Recently, we actually did one for the sheriff's office regarding the Narcan that's been going out. So we really try to expand that. So our YouTube is becoming more popular as well. But really, all the information, be it in the other source we have, is always going to filter back into our Facebook and Twitter feed because we know that's where the most people are going to see it.
So on the YouTube, I know that we've recently been doing at the Board of Supervisors. Is it on the YouTube?
Yeah, so we've been doing live updates, and we actually went live for the entire budget meeting last time. And we then upload that video after we're done with live. We record it, upload it to YouTube so people can watch it later as well.
Just getting more information out to the residents here in Navajo County.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about, is just keeping the public informed. So often that, there's the conception of government that we're trying to hide things and things like that. We just try to be as transparent as possible to show, no, this is what we're doing, this is how we're doing it. If you have questions, let us know, because you can always interact with us through these pages as well. And we do respond. Recently, we got our data back from Facebook. We average about 4 minutes for a response, so we've really gotten responsive on it as well.
So you of course, you manage the responses too. Do we get quite a few?
We do, especially in times of an emergency. Like right now, we have quite a few wildfires going on around. Luckily, none of them are in our direct area. They're not in Navajo County, so they're not threatening our communities. But they are around us. We still try to, post updates on that. So we do get a lot of feedback. People are concerned. Anytime there's a wildfire, it's an understandable concern. So it's just letting them know where the wind direction is taking it, where the smoke's going to be coming, and really, are there any communities or structures threatened? So we do get a lot of feedback with that.
So why is social media important? You kind of covered that some already, but
it's important because, especially in the way society is now, it's such a information at your fingertips. I mean, we all have smartphones. You can literally access anything at any time now. So what social media allows us is to post this up-to-date information right away. It really helps us keep the public informed, and it helps show that we are also involved in the community, that we are involved in these events, in these emergency situations, and we're here to communicate. And it really just helps us stay up to date, really, with the times. That is so, need this information right now. We can now provide it up to the minute.
So, of course, we're talking about social media, but we still use the traditional media also. I believe county sends out press releases, to whether it be radio or the newspaper.
Yeah, we do. We try to make sure we maintain those great relationships with our local radio stations or newspaper, even something like this, which is Sholo TV, because especially in times of emergency, they still help us get that information out there. And they still cover our board meetings. There's still a lot of people who like to hold that newspaper in their hand, on Tuesdays and Fridays and get their news. So we still want to reach them as well. So we don't just discard traditional media for this new media. We really try to balance both. And what's great about our social media is all the newspapers and radio stations are on social media as well, so they can also get information right there. When they have more questions, they just call me directly, and then that lets me know, do we need to get a press release out if we haven't already. So it really actually helps with that relationship of they have the up-to-date information as well, and then we can go on both media platforms.
I hadn't even thought about that, where the local media does follow your Facebook or Twitter, and they can get the information quicker than the traditional way of a press release.
Yeah. Then they don't have to just sit and wait for this press release to come in. They can see what's out there, because we don't want to send too many press releases either. You don't want to fill their inboxes, because then important things can fall through the gaps. Whereas, so if you have these lighter stories, they can see it, and if they want to report on that, they let me know, and I can get them more information. It really does help with that. And then at the same time, when they post stories that maybe aren't directly related to Navajo County, but let's say it involves the city of Show Low or the city of Holbrook, we share those as well, so we get that information out as well. Something that wouldn't necessarily come across my desk in a traditional sense, I can now find it on their social media as well and help promote our communities. So it really is beneficial in both directions.
Great. What's the purpose of social media when it comes to public safety? I mean, again, some of these you're already kind of hitting on, but expound on it.
So when it comes to public safety, it really just helps get that information to the community. Whereas, let's say a child goes missing, and we've had this happen a few times recently. We can now get that picture up on social media, and it can reach thousands of people instantly, as opposed to we'd have to put it on the radio or put up flyers and hope people see it. They can now see it instantly. They can immediately start looking for this child, and more often than not, we find them within a couple hours now. I mean, it is that beneficial when that many people see it, because once that's up there, people can share it, and then it just gets this life of its own, and we can immediately update when that child is found as well. And so that helps, so people don't keep looking when we've already found them. And yeah, we actually had that just a few weeks ago. A child went missing, and I think it took us about an hour, and that child was found safe.
So on something like that, Adam, I can't think of any one, but you told me there was recently on one post that it was like 25,000 people saw the post, or how does that work? I'm not a social media.
Yeah, so every time we put up a post, it starts monitoring how many people have interacted with it. So whether they click on it to expand it, whether they just stop and read it, or like it or comment on it, that all counts as interaction, which then tells me the number of people reached. And even if someone were to share it on their page and then other people interact with it there, that still counts as the original post. So yeah, we recently had one. It was one of our Wanted Wednesday posts, and it ended up reaching actually 25,000 people, and that happened really within about a 4-hour span. And that we're actually able to find that gentleman as well. So that really worked out.
That's amazing to reach that many people that quickly, which again, your traditional media, that just couldn't happen. So.
Yeah, it really just makes everything, because again, information at the touch of your fingertips now. It's right there, it's instant, and it really helps raise the awareness throughout the community. And then you get so many more people assisting, our deputies. It's common knowledge that so many law enforcement agencies are understaffed, so it's hard to be everywhere. Social media allows us to be everywhere because it gets the community involved in it, and it's hugely beneficial, especially when we have someone that's done some bad things that's wanted, and we're able to track that person down within a day. I mean, that's huge for law enforcement.
Absolutely. What steps does the county take to communicate with the public during times of an emergency?
So there's a few different things we do. The first one is always timely and accurate information. We know people need to be updated as often as possible and as quickly as possible. So again, the Cedar Fire as an example, on the first 2 days, you're learning so much about the fire. So we had probably 25 updates in those first 2 days. After that, it slows down a bit because you now know where the wildfire is. It can only grow so much each day. So that information slows down, but we still make sure we let them know either nothing has changed or what the new situation is. In situations like we had the unfortunate shooting at our courthouse, it's a bit chaotic again when things are first happening as we're getting information, but then we're able to update, that people were safe, that employees were let to go home, different things like that, and we really get to just provide a timeline of updated information in an emergency. So it really provides that up-to-date information that people normally wouldn't get if we didn't have social media.
You know, I think that's important, Adam, is that I do remember during the Cedar fire we got a lot of information out very early. And then as the days went on, I did hear people going, we're not hearing anything.
Yeah.
And so I think that's important to the public, is that if you're not hearing anything, that's really good.
Yeah.
Not in the beginning,
No, absolutely.
but
yeah.
as an emergency does grow, especially a fire, you can count on whether it be the Forest Service or the county to get you the newest and most current accurate information there is. So if you're not seeing something, then there's really nothing more to share.
Yeah, and what we started doing was letting people know at least every 3 or 4 hours. There's no new update at this time, just to let people to stay active in that situation, because again, people are waiting for it. But and every emergency is different. So with a fire, again, those first 3 days you're going to have the most information because you're learning about the situation, and then it slows down. But a fire emergency can last 2 to 3 weeks. In a shooting situation, everything's going to happen within 5 or 6 hours. That's where all of your information is going to come from, and then it's just maybe an update as the trial comes or things like that.
Right.
So every situation is so different, and yeah, it's just understanding that process. There's never a time when we're just going to abandon information and just be like, oh, well, try to find it on your own. We would never do that. We're always going to try to keep the public informed.
What kind of results is the county seeing from our social media program?
Since I came on board, I can't speak before that. Obviously, I wasn't here. But since I came on board, we've really tried to, make ourselves relevant as a news source to the community, and we've actually seen each page grow by more than 100%. The emergency management page actually grew from, I think, close to 500 to 3,500 now. That's been our highest growing page. The sheriff's office went from about 1,000 to nearly 5,000 now. And even our main page was at less than 5,000. It's now over 10,000. So we're seeing that people both appreciate the interaction, appreciate the updates, and also want to get involved. I mean, we're seeing different things we try, like photos of the day. It's simple. People take a picture, we post it, we give them credit. We're now getting submissions from all across the county. And it's as simple as, someone like, oh, it's a nice sunset. They take a picture. Well, that's something, if you're not here, you have no idea that our sunsets can range from anywhere from dark blue to bright orange, and we
Right.
get these incredible views. So we share that out. In the winter, we share out pictures of the snow, and they actually reach all the way to Florida. People in Florida repost these and just go, wow, who knew this was in Arizona? We live in such a unique section of the state that we really try to showcase everything, and we've really seen good results there of showcasing that. And then, because we get that interaction, when something does happen in that public safety situation, we now have all these people that now get this information because they came to this page for, maybe they just posted a photo or liked a photo, and then they liked the page. Well, now they're informed about an emergency as well. So we've really seen great growth and great results from that.
I noticed this morning that we'd posted on the sheriff's Facebook where the different fires were in Arizona right now. And you posted that fairly early, but there was already 7 shares just on the sheriff's side. Yep. And I'm sure you put that on the county Facebook too. But that's going to reach a lot of people. There's a lot of interest in that.
Oh yeah, and when we start messing with times, you learn what times work better. Our most shared stuff tends to be at 5 o'clock when people get off work. But the other popular times are right before they go to work and around lunchtime at noon. Because that's when people are going to check. When they're working, they tend to not be on social media. But right before and right in the middle and right after are where we try to put the heart of our information. So, yeah, so that post was actually up at 7:15 this morning. And, yeah, immediately we started getting likes, comments, and shares. Because people want that information, and we've now learned the times that they're going to best see it. So that's when we try to put that really... that most important information, specifically to public safety, if there's a public safety concern.
I know that I'm not a real whiz on social media, but I know that you can purchase on social media to target a certain area, or do we do that? Or
we haven't done much of that, mostly because we just haven't had the content to really like purchase ads to say we have a great video of sunrise. You could put that in an ad and you could target it to people down in the valley to remind them, hey, we have snow up here. It's different things like that. We haven't done much of that yet. We do plan to do more of that because when it comes to advertising, you can actually get your specific audience and really target them, and you can actually get results, how many people clicked on it. You can see the benefit of it, and it's also $5 to $10 per ad. You can also save a lot of money as opposed to advertising on the traditional media sources. For a government like us that's going through a bit of a budget shortfall and really tightening everything, something like that could be hugely beneficial.
Because you can target a certain part of the county or a certain part of the state, I guess, in either way.
Yeah, we could even target other states, other portions. We know we have a viewership in Florida. Maybe we want to let them know of different events going on in case they want to come visit, that we can really let people know what's happening through these targeted ads.
That's great. What are some of the ways the county plans to improve our social media or outreach, regardless whatever type of outreach we do to the public?
Yeah, well, and again, it's important to note that yes, we've seen great results, but we know we can always do better as well. We know there's always more people we can reach, and learning better ways to reach them as well. Every time we post something, whether there's a picture attached, no picture attached, a video, it tells us something different about how the community likes to get their information. So what we've learned is video is better. People really like to see what's going on as opposed to just being told.
Is there a certain amount of time for a video? In other words, a 10-second, 30-second, 1 minute video is
typically a minute or less. Anything above can get repetitive depending on the topic. It can also, people can lose interest a little bit. So we try to keep it 60 seconds or less. And when it comes to video, that's a lot of time to explain something. So we've really seen great progress with that. And as I said, we started doing more videos, be it fire PSAs as we are in fire season, be it public safety for the sheriff's office, or even just little live look-ins that we then repost later. Maybe something funny happened at a board meeting. We can edit that down to just that funny moment and then post that. And we're seeing good results with that, and that's something we're really trying to expand, as well as our live video capabilities. As I mentioned, we did go live for the entire budget meeting for our last board meeting. We can't do that every week. We just don't have the technology capabilities to go live for the entire meeting, but we're working on it to see what we can do.
So where can our residents go to get more information? I mean, I think we've pretty well covered that already, but is it something I've missed or?
Yeah, so it's just facebook.com/Navajo County. That'll take you right to the main page. Otherwise, it's Navajo County Sheriff's is the other one, or Navajo County EM is the emergency management page. And Twitter, we're just twitter.com/Navajo County AZ. And that's the best way to just get involved, get interactive. If people aren't following us yet, we'd love to have them follow us to get that information to them, because again, this is the best source we have for up-to-date information.
So when you go, whether it's to the sheriff's office Facebook page or the main page, is there something on there that explains our policies of what can be posted or what we'd want posted?
Yeah, great question. There actually is. So in the About section of each page, there is a posting policy, because there are things you can and can't say. This is still an official government forum. Essentially, you can't say anything you wouldn't come into a board meeting and say. You can't use profanity. You can't personally attack someone else's comment, because everyone is entitled to their comment. You can't attack them. You can't insult people. You can't post advertisements to our page. Simple things should be pretty basic, but there are 9 criteria that are restricted on the page, and that is listed under the posting policy, and that's right in the About page.
And if somebody doesn't follow the rules, and is there a way to keep them off the page, or what do we do about that?
Yeah, so if someone does violate this policy, typically we have a 3-strike rule. If it's not an egregious violation, we'll hide the comment. If it's profane, or if it's really just crude, we'll actually remove that comment. And if we have to remove more than 3, that person will be blocked from the page. Luckily, we have not had to do that very often. I think we only have 2 or 3 instances where we actually had to block someone from the page. typically people do understand, hey, I respect your opinion, here's my opinion, and it really becomes a discussion, which is what we strive for.
Right.
But every now and then, even if even if it's something like, oh, I agree with that comment, but profanity was said, we still have to remove that.
Right. Well, Adam, thank you for coming in today. It was, again, I've been trying to learn a little bit more about social media, and I know I work with our chief quite a bit, and he works with you on it. He seems to understand it much more than me. So anyway, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate everything you do for the county. And until next time, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And stay tuned for our Most Wanted.
The Navajo County Sheriff's Office is currently seeking the location of Richard William Steinmetz. Richard is wanted on a felony Navajo County warrant from original charges of aggravated assault. Deputies attempted to arrest Richard in connection to an investigation in Show Low, where Richard attempted to light the victim on fire with starting fluid. Richard fled the scene prior to deputies' arrival. Richard has been evading contact from law enforcement for the past few months and has not been able to be located in the Show Low area. Richard should be considered dangerous and a fugitive from law enforcement. If anyone has any information about the location of Richard William Steinmetz, we encourage you to contact the Navajo County Sheriff's Office at 928-524-4050 or WeTip at 1-800-78-CRIME. A reward may be offered.